Yo, what's up, YouTube, man? It's your boy, Ashton Jackson, and in today's video, I'm going to be talking about Michael Gallup getting permission from the Dallas Cowboys to seek a trade. So before we get into the video, I appreciate if you guys would like the video, subscribe if you're new, comment, and share my video with anyone who you think will enjoy my content. All right, man, so yeah, I'm talking off of my AirPods, so you guys will let me know, and you guys are honest. You know, a lot of you guys that do view the, my videos, you guys are purely honest, which I do appreciate a lot. So you guys will let me know if something doesn't sound right. So again, I'm trying something a little bit new, trying something a little bit different. I have these AirPods. I might as well put them to use and things of that nature, right? So again, breaking news right around like 25-30 minutes ago, prior to me even making this video, we did get breaking news from Dallas Cowboys Cycle that, Michael Gallup is seeking permission, or got granted permission from the Dallas Cowboys to seek a trade. And really, before I even get talking about where I think he should possibly go, or I think the draft compensation for a guy like Michael Gallup can kind of look like, and things of that nature. So really, in my opinion, I feel like where the Dallas Cowboys messed up at prior to him, even before us even getting here on March 9th, 2024, I felt like we messed up March of 2022 when we decided to give our homegrown talent, which the Dallas Cowboys have a tough time departing from guys that they drafted their own, right? They view them as their child more times than not, except for Dak Prescott. They never really cared for Dak Prescott. They just understood that he was a good football player and a good quarterback, and he wasn't necessarily going to get you necessarily wasn't going to get better than him unless you lost. If you were like a 0 to a 3-win football team, that was the only possible way you were going to be really able to replace Dak Prescott with an adequate type of quarterback. And we had to be trash in some years. Like if we wanted to get a CJ Stroud, we had to be really bad in 2022. And that team we had that year, even with no wide receivers outside of CeeDee Lamb, no way we were going to be that bad. And I think that the Dallas Cowboys, they have favoritism to the people that they drafted. And I think that's what happened when we decided to give a 5-year deal to a wide receiver in Michael Gallup, who had really nice production his rookie year in 2018 when he came out in the 3rd round out of Colorado State. He never really was a big nuanced route runner. So when you think about the route runners that came out in that class, like DJ Moore, Calvin Ridley, just off the top of my head, Cortland Sutton also was in that wide receiver class. There were some really good wide receivers that came out in that class. Even Cedric Wilson, his future teammate, was in that class. I believe we got him in the 7th round out of Boise State. He never really was a big route runner. We always viewed him as, in the Cowboys community, like a baby Dez Bryant, a mini Dez Bryant. That's what some people were saying, because when he was scoring touchdowns and getting big plays, it was purely off of athleticism. He was jumping over guys. He was beating people on 9 routes. He was catching the ball on post corner routes, post routes, and he would take like a slant or a dig. He'd throw it in, hit him in stride. He scored a touchdown. And that was way before he even tore his ACL. So you got to think about a guy who is strictly winning routes and is strictly scoring touchdowns based off his athleticism. Just think about when he played the Washington, what they formerly was known as in 2019, that very last game of the season when he had like 3 or 4 touchdowns. Just like the touchdowns he was scoring. Dak Prescott threw a drag route. He scored a touchdown. He threw one up in the back of the pylon, left corner of the end zone. He went up, he jumped up, went and got it. So there was a lot of times, and just that season was his breakout year, his 2nd year, where he had like, I think 5 or 8 touchdowns that year. He had a really good year in 2019. Too bad the team didn't have a overall good year, but and just the way he was scoring touchdowns, you knew that eventually once he got out there in age, or if he had a big time injury, he wasn't going to be able to bounce back from that, because he is purely winning football games and purely scoring touchdowns off his athleticism ability. His athletic ability. So with that basically being stripped away from all of 2021, because if you just think about it, he played week 1. He did something with his hamstring where he was gone for about 10 or 11 weeks. He didn't come back until the Atlanta game. I think after the Atlanta game, he probably played like 2 or 3 games. Then I remember him getting hurt against the Arizona Cardinals, the last game of the year, and then that's where he tore his ACL. That was the last year we had Amari Cooper. And I feel like that year, March of 2022, we moved back as a franchise. We traded away our best wide receiver at that time, with it being Amari Cooper. We found Amari Cooper's replacement and production with CeeDee Lamb. We never found a way to get CeeDee Lamb's production and replacement as him being a wide receiver 2 that year. We never found that, and I felt like that's what really screwed us over. But like I said, us moving away from Amari Cooper, him going to the Browns, and even when he played for the Browns with Jacoby Brissett, he had one of his best years as a receiver playing for Jacoby Brissett / Deshaun Watson, when he had Deshaun Watson for like 4 or 5 games. Even the year after that, in 2023-24, Amari Cooper had a hell of a year with Joe Flacco and Deshaun Watson. So it doesn't matter who was at quarterback. Amari Cooper broke a record for the Browns with a single game receiving record with 250 something passing yards, like receiving yards. My bad. It was just kind of weird. Not kind of weird. It was weird what we did with Amari Cooper and everything of that nature. And then we decided to pay a guy who was really just winning routes and just scoring touchdowns off his pure athletic ability. And then we signed him to a 5-year deal. I felt like we rushed him. I felt like, I was saying in my videos and I was preaching how we needed to draft a receiver. We needed to get his replacement. We did. It was in the 3rd round with Jalen Tolbert, but he hasn't really panned out until this past year where he showed some promise. And when he made big plays, he made big plays. He had a touchdown versus the Eagles. He had a big play against the Miami Dolphins. He had a really solid season last year, especially if you look at his rookie year. He had a really bad rookie year. We didn't think he was going to pan out. Second year showed a lot of promise. But again, I felt we rushed him. Michael Gallup, I said that, hey, he shouldn't come back until November. We brought him back in September. He already was playing in the second or third week in the season against the Washington Commanders, which was very, it wasn't smart in my opinion. I wouldn't have brought back Michael Gallup that early into the season, but we did. But the only reason why we rushed him back so bad is because we saw what it looked like week 1 when we had Dennis Houston at wide receiver 2 versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and they just purely locked us up. And that was ball game from there, and they ran on us, and that was ball game, right? We could barely score points. Defense got a lot of great stops, but we couldn't score points. So we were rushing back Michael Gallup. We did, and he just never looked right that year. He didn't look good that year. Yeah, there were some times when he had multi-touchdown games. He had a big, crucial touchdown against the Philadelphia Eagles when that was a shootout on Christmas Eve. He had some solid games, but again, he didn't pop off like how we really wanted him to be. And we saw that his athletic ability wasn't there due to the ACL injury. Bam, boom, that year goes. Like I said, he never was a great route runner. That was showed off against the Niners when the Niners were locking him up. He couldn't gain any separation. So that was ball game on that end. Then we go to the very next year, with the year that I just passed, 2023, 2024. Again, we're relying on Michael Gallup to be our wide receiver 2, our wide receiver 3. And we were saying like, hey, we can't go in and play San Francisco or just go into any playoff game without getting another wide receiver who can separate or make big plays. Again, the Dallas Cowboys knew they was wrong for moving on from Amari Cooper, and what did they go do? They traded away their 5th round pick to the Houston Texans to go get Brandon Cooks. We got Brandon Cooks. We didn't utilize him until the second half of the season. Again, Michael Gallup didn't show up in the first week of the season versus the Giants. Didn't show up the second week versus the Jets. But he did show up against the Cardinals, and that was a game, in my opinion, where I felt like, okay, he's coming into his own. He had, I think, almost 100 yards in that game. He had like 9 catches, 87 yards. He had a pretty decent game. That was like basically his best game as a Cowboy since on his new deal. So I'm thinking like, oh, okay. And then that earlier in the offseason, we restructured money and moved it back some years. So that's why we can make some moves in free agency. Didn't show up week 4. Didn't show up against the Niners when we needed him. Week 6, that was a game versus the LA Chargers on Monday night where we gave him like 10 to 13 targets. And every single time you saw him trying to get a route, somebody was on his back. He can't separate, and I feel like that was his big problem. ACL injury happened. Now this is where he is. Now the Dallas Cowboys are granting him permission to go seek a trade. I say, why don't you just go out there and make a trade for him? Why are you know what I'm saying, having him go seek a trade? How about you guys go seek a trade for him, right? Some places where I can possibly see him going to some destinations off the top of my head. I'm thinking about the Carolina Panthers. If I'm thinking from the Carolina Panthers perspective, we do need a receiver. Like I just said, he can't separate, and they had a major problem with that last year. But I felt like they have the first pick in the second round. It's not realistic, or we're not getting the second round pick. We're not getting the third round pick. If we can fleece them from one of them, that'd be nice. But if they want to give up a fourth round or give us a fifth round pick, even at that, to gain Michael Gallup, and they'll probably more than likely draft a receiver, the first pick in the second round. They'll be plentiful of talent at that position where they can draft a Troy Franklin, maybe if he's available. Maybe Xavier Worthy, but I don't see him passing either the Dolphins, you know how the Dolphins are, the Ravens, or the 49ers, or the Chiefs. I don't see Xavier Worthy getting to the second round in the first day. Getting to the second round, I don't see him getting that low. You got Keon Coleman. I don't think he slides that far neither, but who knows? Adonai Mitchell, I don't see him falling that far anyway as well. But you never know in some of these drafts who people view higher than others. Troy Franklin, I don't know if I said him, if the Panthers want to get him, but I'm thinking about the Panthers. Somebody in our division will probably likely take him, like the Giants will probably want to take him if they'll give us their fourth round pick. I don't see them doing it, but I can see them saying like, hey, if the division rival doesn't want him, we're fine with making a move. I don't mind if we give up Michael Gallup to the Giants. Again, they need wide receiver help. I don't know if they're going to definitely move on from Daniel Jones. I know I would, but why give him a big deal if you're going to move on from him just in the second year of his deal? Also, another team I'm kind of eyeing right now. I'm trying to think about playoff teams. I'm pretty sure the Lions would probably want to give up their fourth round or fifth round pick to make Michael Gallup their third wide receiver. But I understand they do have to pay Amon-Ra pretty soon. They have Jameson Williams, who's probably not going to get a huge contract. I know he was a first-round pick coming out of Alabama in that 2022 draft class, so I don't see him going there. But if he does, I wouldn't be surprised. They can add to that wide receiver group, rework his deal, do something. Maybe he can take a pay cut, whatever the case might be. The Chiefs, I can see him going to the Chiefs for sure. Again, him being their second wide receiver, him replacing MVS, and having a scheme like that where they can scheme Michael Gallup open, I think he can have really nice production for Patrick Mahomes. Packers, if the Packers wanted their own wide receiver, they can go get him. The Texans, they can go get him. I understand they do have Tank Dell, they have Nico Collins, they do have Robert Woods, but if they want a wide receiver 3, they can go get him. The Browns can go get him. I understand they're trying to load up at wide receiver. They have Amari Cooper. They traded for Jerry Jeudy earlier today, right around probably like 3 or 4 o'clock some of your guys' time, but it was right 2 o'clock my time on the West Coast. So you have that go down. I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. Miami Dolphins, like I said, they're never going to shy away from talent. The Eagles, don't be surprised if they want to add a wide receiver 3. Don't be surprised if they come knocking on your door. Seattle, not Seattle, because they have a bunch of talent at that position. They don't really need him. I'm trying to think about it. The Arizona Cardinals probably won't mind taking him. If they add somebody like Marvin Harrison Jr. or Malik Neighbors, I wouldn't be surprised if they gain somebody like that. Patriots need wide receivers. You can go to the Patriots. He can go to the Chargers. If the Chargers want him, but I don't know if Jim Harbaugh wants a receiver like that who can't really separate like that. But who knows? Anything can happen. The Raiders, I wouldn't count out the Raiders. Cowboys and Raiders, they make a bunch of trades, so I wouldn't be surprised if the Raiders give up their fourth round pick to get a guy like him. I wouldn't if I was the Raiders. Maybe if I can give my fifth or sixth round pick for him, something like that. Or I wouldn't mind if the Dallas Cowboys traded somewhere where you get a fifth round pick, but it comes with conditions that if he hits a certain amount of snaps reached, he does a certain amount of number of touchdowns and yards. That fifth round, that was a conditional pick. If you reach certain conditions, it'd be a fourth pick. It can be a third pick. At the highest, it could possibly be a second round pick. I would like the Dallas Cowboys to do something savvy like that. But knowing the Dallas Cowboys, we're not like that. We're not savvy when it comes to, trading picks and trading players and flipping them for better situations. But who knows? I feel like if we can get a fourth round pick, because currently the Dallas Cowboys do not have a fourth round pick, and I would love to pick a fourth round pick if we can from Michael Gallup. I would love to get a conditional pick if we can get. It starts off as a 5th, it starts off as a 6th. It reaches certain requirements, gets a higher draft pick. That's about it for the video. Hope you guys have a nice day. Stay safe, stay blessed. Bye.